Hello there. Good evening and welcome. And I hope I don't mispronounce this. I Squale. My name is Quentin Goodbody. I'm president of the Ladysmith and District Historical Society, and I'm acting as host to tonight's Ladysmith Annual Heritage Awards celebration, which is taking place on the unceded territory of the Tsuut'ina First Nation on eastern Vancouver Island, Canada. As well as being on Zoom, this awards ceremony is being live streamed on the Historical Society's Facebook page, and a recording will be put on the Society's YouTube channel. We're glad that those of you watching have chosen to spend time with us this evening. Thank you so much for being here. The annual Ladysmith Heritage Awards are presented to businesses, individuals and groups within the community that have played a key role during the year in preserving or promoting local heritage through their actions or initiatives. Recipients are chosen from nominations received from the community. The order of tonight's ceremony will be as shown. We have a number of distinguished guests. The Honourable Melanie Mark, BC Minister of Tourism, Arts, Culture and Sport, will start things off by saying a few words before we launch into the awards presentations themselves, with which I will be assisted by Tsuut'ina First Nation Chief Roxanne Harris and Ladysmith Mayor Aaron Stone. After the presentations, we look forward to hearing from special guests Lisa Marie Barron, our MP, and Doug Routley, our MLA, before I close the proceedings. So to get things rolling, I'll call on Minister Melanie Mark to say a few words.
Hi everyone, my name is Melanie Mark and I'm the Minister for Tourism, Arts, Culture and Sport. I'm probably the MLA for Vancouver Mount Pleasant, and I'm the first and only First Nations woman to ever serve in the BC Legislative Assembly in British Columbia. I'm proud to be Niska, Gitxsan, Cree, and Ojibwe, and I'd like to acknowledge that I'm participating from my home on the traditional unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. I'd like to recognize my colleague MLA Doug Routley, who's joining us, Mayor Aaron Stone, my old high school buddy, and Chief of Tsuut'ina, Chief Roxanne Harris. It's really lovely to see you. And it's lovely to see all of you taking time to stream this really amazing event. Thanks again for inviting me, and thank you, Quentin, for kicking things off. I'd like to thank the Ladysmith and District Historical Society for inviting me to participate. Some of you may or may not know that I'm a graduate from Ladysmith High School, and my aunt and uncle Jerry Bush and Jack Bush helped raise me, and they played a significant role in my life. So I just want to acknowledge their contribution to my success. And I want to congratulate all of the nominees and winners for tonight's award. I'm so happy to be here and be a part of this celebration. Events like these shine a light on multiculturalism in all parts of BC, and preserving our true histories is very close to my heart. I'm very proud to now include the Heritage branch, previously under the Forest Lands and Natural Resource Operations to my ministry. Not like I have nothing better to do, but to advocate and do my level best to support the tourism, arts, culture, and sport parts of my ministry. But now Heritage falls within my mandate, courtesy of Premier John Horgan. So I'm very delighted to have that extra responsibility. I commend you for recognizing all voices and telling their stories is an important part of making our shared history part of modern society. The province of British Columbia recognizes and celebrates the importance of organizations like the Ladysmith and District Historical Society by proclaiming BC Heritage Week. This year, we dedicated February 21st and through to 27th as Heritage Week, but we know the work happens all year round. You are the keepers of our legacy, places of our learning and reflection, and add to the social well-being of British Columbia's communities. Heritage societies and museums answer the call to action for reconciliation by protecting and promoting Indigenous languages and cultures and repatriation. Societies like yours are incredibly valuable to BC's communities. You connect people to collections, to knowledge and ideas, and to each other. As well, we know that historical societies link not just connections to family, but also new connections to create diversity, inclusion, and equity in BC. I'm honored to be with you tonight to celebrate your organization and those who have contributed to these important values. But we know that our work is not done. You have the power to initiate dialogue between cultures and to encourage greater respect and understanding of one another. As minister, I always say that we have to paddle together. We are on a journey together. It is our duty to invite people into the conversation. It is our duty to tell our stories. It is our duty to tell our histories, both good and bad. But really, I just want to say, you know, I'm very proud to hold this ministry. I'm responsible for the Royal BC Museum. I have an opportunity now to be responsible for heritage. I think we have a duty to curate our history. I think we have a duty to invite people into the conversation. I think we have a duty to tell our stories, both the hardships, but also the tribulations. And with that, I want to congratulate Bill Vertier, Clinton Charlie, and the Young Wolves Dance Group, the Ladysmith Maritime Society, and the Ladysmith and District Credit Union. Thank you so much for inviting me to join with you tonight. I'm not going to be able to stay on all night because I get to go back to being a mom and reading binders to get ready for the legislature tomorrow. But I want to thank the organizers and the volunteers and everyone who are doing your part to make sure that we keep telling our stories and sharing our history. And congratulations.
I just wanted to say thank you to the minister for taking time out of her incredibly busy schedule and family time to be with us here tonight. It means a lot to us. Thank you. Before moving on to the awards, I'd like to give a little background on what is meant by heritage. Heritage is that which is inherited from past generations, maintained by the present, and bestowed to future generations. Our heritage includes natural features such as landscapes, resources, animals, and plants that we live on and with. Heritage is also cultural, as reflected by the built environment consisting of buildings and urban, agricultural, and maricultural landscapes. Tangible artifacts such as objects, books, pictures, and machinery also belong to cultural heritage, as do intangible elements such as language, philosophy, value systems, and social organization. Art spans the cultural attributes. Each of us reflects our individual heritage. Our community character reflects the degree of acceptance and understanding of the diversity of cultural heritage within it. Today, as the minister mentioned, is the last day of BC Heritage Week 2022. Altogether inclusive, the theme for this year's BC Heritage Week promotes engagement and dialogue between disparate groups. This, along with a recent BC government initiative called BC 150 Time Immemorial, promotes inclusivity and diversity as foundational aspects of British Columbia's future. We're all richer through understanding, honoring, and accepting the diversity of cultural heritage within our community. We believe it fitting that tonight, on the last day of Heritage Week 2022, we recognize those in our community that have contributed during the past year to the preservation and promotion of our rich and diverse local heritage, allowing us to live up to the town's motto, Heritage by the Sea. Before we start the presentations, I'd like to ask Chief Roxanne Harris, followed by Mayor Stone, to say a few words. Roxanne, would you like to say anything?
Yes, absolutely. I just want to thank you, Quentin, for making this possible through the Ladysmith Historical Society, and I just want to also welcome everyone to the traditional territory of this unceded territory of the Staminas First Nation of where I live, work, and play, and I know a lot of our people on this Zoom event is, some of us are sitting in the territory. So I just wanted to welcome everyone, and I'm really happy and proud that we can come together and look at celebrating some of the accomplishments and achievements of our people who are receiving awards tonight. And I am feeling very proud as a Staminas member that our young wolves are part of that. So and with Clinton leading the way on that. So I'm just really feeling happy today. And I just think about some of the things, we're trying to hang on to our language and culture. And so I think about our Snawayath, our traditional way of knowing and being. I think about a word that we talk about as tsitawatl, is help each other out. And I feel like, if we do that, the world would be a better place. And then also thinking about Natsamat, one heart, one mind. And last of all is Naslich, love. So just bringing that into the world is going to, our world could be a better place. And I think about truth and reconciliation and what our actions are of trying to get to that place. And I think we're on the right track with, doing things like this. We are doing actions that are making the world a better place and a place where we can live in this world in a good way, harmoniously, rather than the way things were in the past. So I just look forward to tonight, and I'm excited about all of the awards that are going to be handed out. So I'm thanking you, Quentin, for making you and Marina working on this and getting this ready today, and also want to thank Mayor Stone for all his hard work and dedication to the town of Ladysmith, and then thank Melanie Mark for her words just before me, and then also looking forward to hearing the words after and hearing our award members talk about themselves and their groups and whatnot. So I'm just really excited. I thank you all for taking time to be a part of this tonight. I'm really appreciating each and every one of you. I'd say Kasia.
Thank you, Chief Harris. We really value and appreciate your presence with us tonight as well. Aaron Stone, over to you.
Thank you so much, and I too want to express my gratitude and the thanks I feel every day for being here within Staminas territory, and from the warm guidance and patience that Staminas shows as we move along together on this journey. Quentin or Q, I know you prefer, and the whole Ladysmith and District Historical Society. I just want to thank you so much, especially over the last couple of years, really keeping things moving forward while we reflect on the past, and just keeping that hard work going, because we've all experienced over the last couple of years this disconnect that happens with people. And I find that the work that LDHS does brings people together, it brings community together, and especially as you put more focus on both the Ladysmith history and the time immemorial history of Staminas within our community, and bringing the two communities together, how important that is, and really how meaningful it is. It goes beyond events like these, and it does truly extend to every day. Chief Harris, of course, thank you for your leadership, your guidance, and your friendship. It's been a tough couple of years for all of us, and through it all, you've handled yourself with grace and care, and like you said, with love. And I think that's been so important as we go through a really tough time, as a society, as a community, and beyond. And of course, Minister Mark, it was a wild day when she was elected to the legislature, and being able to see a high school friend as an MLA, and look at us, we've all turned out all right. And of course, MLA Routley, Doug, so wonderful to see you here tonight. And we haven't had as much time to be together in person. You've just had to deal with my text rants for the last couple of years. But as we kind of move on and hopefully look forward to brighter days in the future, I'm really excited for what we can achieve together, especially in your new role, Doug. So congratulations to you on that. Very well deserved, and a great voice to have when we're having these really difficult conversations on moving forestry together, which really ties a thread back to the history of our province and the heritage. Both challenging and to be celebrated. But as we move forward in a good way on forestry and working with our First Nations and collaborating together, we'll find a better, more sustainable future for all of us. So I just want to say with the deepest gratitude, the thanks that I have, and I really do sorry that I was unable to attend last weekend's event with family illness. It's been tough with COVID to be together, and we were with family, but all the reviews were so glowing and positive. I just want to thank you for continuing to keep that torch alive and sort of passing that torch forward to future generations through all the work that you do at the Historical Society. So thank you, and Haichka.
Thank you. So we'll move toward the presentations. The 4 awards tonight celebrate a wide spectrum of heritage activity within the community. The background to each award will be provided by showing a few slides which help tell the story of what the award is about. And I really encourage the recipients to chime in while these slides are up. I'm going to do a screen share again. The first Heritage Award tonight is being presented to Bill Vercher and family for their loving, multi-generational preservation of 641 3rd Avenue, known as the Coburn Vercher House and Gardens, which together are significant original elements of Ladysmith's built heritage.
Yay!
We are. Bill, do you want to talk about this? This is Claire Singleton's painting of the house.
Well, that's my house. That's where I live. And there's my old red van parked in the driveway. That painting was done by Claire Singleton, who's a prominent local painter. And it's very nice. So.
And this is what it's of.
Okay, there's the old house. That's the old house.
So the Coburn Vercher House is situated at the corner of Buller and 3rd Avenue.
That's correct, yep.
And if you look up at the top of the slide, you'll see there's 2 addresses, 356 Buller Street and now 641 3rd Avenue. I understand there's a bit of a story behind that, Bill.
Well, somebody from the town could probably explain it better than I can, but when I was a child, actually up until the 1960s, the address of that home was 356 Buller Street, but now it's been changed. It's now 641 3rd Avenue. That's because the main entrance used to be on Buller Street. That's where the picture's taken from. But now the main entrance is up on the 3rd Avenue side, so it gets a bit confusing.
There was something about Buller Street being little more than a cattle trail at one point, I understand.
Well, that's long before my time. I've lived in that house for almost 90 years, and I recall when I was a child, it was almost a wilderness out on the street, just vines and bushes and everything, and it wasn't really a roadway until later on. I'm talking about the early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
All right, let's move on. The house is important because it was one of the very few early houses in Ladysmith that was designed by an architectural firm. In this case, Hooper and Watkins, which was a very well-known firm based in Victoria.
Yeah.
And
well, I tell you, if I happen to run into that architect, I've got a few words for him. Could you imagine living in a house with a fireplace in each of the 3 bedrooms, another fireplace in the living room, a big cast iron stove in the kitchen, and no central heating? So we had to sort of rely on the fireplaces. Yeah, coal-fired, I would imagine.
I imagine built for servants as well.
I don't know. I mean, our family didn't arrive at that home until 1917. That was just over 100 years ago, when my grandfather and his 5 children and his wife moved in. I don't know where they all slept, but 3 bedrooms. But anyway, the children are all the way in ages from about 5 years to 16 years of age. I know my dad was 13 years old at the time. It's interesting to look at that old house, just the way it looked.
And it hasn't changed very much from these plans, has it?
Well, the window, the big problem with the house is it had 10-foot ceilings, and they're pretty hard to deal with. It's pretty hard to heat the house. And the windows most of the windows that you see there have all been changed. But it's basically the same. Yeah, this is where I sleep on the end here. This is 1 bedroom, middle bedroom, the back bedroom, the bathroom. This walkway around the corner of the house, it doesn't exist. It's only partial. But it's basically the way it is now. There's no room in the attic for living accommodation. It's too shallow a roof, and there's nothing in the basement.
Yeah. Hooper and Watkins were very well known, and they're actually responsible for a large number of important public and private buildings in Victoria and Vancouver, which were built in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. So a very well-known architectural firm. Yep. And the house was, I guess you could describe it as an upscale house for a very successful businessman who was the first owner.
Well, apparently he was a very successful man. He built that house. He owned a lumber company, I believe. Oh, there's my relatives there. There's Coburn. He's mayor. And there's my grandpa.
Coburn. He was the last mayor of Wellington and the first mayor of Ladysmith.
Okay.
And you're right. He owned a number of businesses. He started off actually working relatively at a low level on the construction of the E&N Railway.
Yep.
And he was the baggage man on the train which brought Sir John A. Macdonald to the last spike ceremony at Cliffside near Shawnigan Lake in 1886. And after that, he developed business interests and initially was involved with the Shawnigan Lake Lumber Company, and then owned the Ladysmith Lumber Company, the Ladysmith Hardware Company, and a very large modern shingle mill at Ladysmith Harbor. And you need to put that into perspective of the massive building boom that was going on, not just in Ladysmith in the early 1900s, but also in the lower mainland with the arrival of the trains in 1885. Basically, Vancouver and that whole area took off. And John Coburn was one of the guys who was involved in supplying a lot of the building materials. In other words, sawn lumber, shingles, etc., to all the houses and buildings that were being built.
Well, Quentin, a lot of the lumber in this house is just first class. The 2x12s that are the floor joists and all the flooring, just top quality lumber. So I thank Mr. Coburn for that anyway.
Well, I have no doubt it came from his own mill.
Obviously, I think it did too.
Yeah. Well,
there's my grandparents on there, and there's my parents, Turner and Sarah Verschere. We owe a debt to them more than anyone, my parents, for the garden and the way the place looks, because my dad did a lot of renovations, and my mother helped him in the garden. So and of course there's me holding up, I think, the last tomato or the first tomato of the season. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the gardens, because they are spectacular and they're really part of the heritage property. Yeah. This is a view from Buller Street in 2020.
Yep.
And I don't know, was that the rock wall was built by the town of Ladysmith? Was that relief work or
you know, honestly, Quentin, I don't know. It was built around, that rock wall was put in the late 30s or early, I think about 1939 or 40. I was just a child in it. I don't remember the city putting it in, but but a crew of men came in there and they put that wall in. I'm responsible for all the plants that you see on there, the flowers. That makes it rather spectacular.
It does.
And the cascade vines up above.
Yeah.
So.
And there's the gardens, which you talked about, and which are a really important part of the whole setup there. Very impressive gardens, a huge amount of work.
Yeah, it looks nice in the summer, but right now things are pretty bare and desolate. But they'll start to bloom pretty soon. There's those are all the raised beds that my daughter put in. Yeah, and the boulevard. Oh, I got to tell you about that. I planted about 10, 12 years ago. I planted 2 Cornish Cusa, pink dogwood, and I'm quite proud of them. And they come out, and I'm really proud of them. And I think to myself, they make me very happy to look at them when they're in bloom. But I wonder how other people feel. I mean, do they get pleasure in the same thing?
They stop traffic.
Yeah, they stop traffic, my daughter was telling me. So anyway, it's very rewarding to do these little things around the yard. Very good. And there's my dad. He's,
Sorry.
God, what's going on here?
That's me. I just moved it a bit faster. That's your dad there.
There's my dad watering his garden. It's basically the same as it was when he left it. I just added a greenhouse on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to say was, and this is one of the big reasons for the award, not just having an interesting and important house, but it takes a lot of work to keep these old buildings in shape. And unless you're as rich as Croesus, you end up being jack of all trades by doing a lot of the work yourself. And for that, the wording is build, reshare, and family for preserving this important heritage property. And it's a labor of love, and it's a constant effort. And for that, we really want to thank you for that.
There's me painting my bedroom. There were 5 layers of wallpaper on that bedroom. I had to strip them all off to repaint the bedroom.
And it would have been lath and plaster underneath, I assume.
Oh, yes, absolutely, yeah. I don't know what else I can add, except to say thank you for this award.
Well, we'll get to that. Here's the plaque that Bill, Sharon family. I delivered it the other day. I hope you like it.
I love it. Thank you very much.
And maybe I'd like to ask Mayor Stone to say a few words in virtually awarding this plaque.
Bill, to you and your family, I just want to say thank you so much for the work and the love and appreciation that you have for your home and preserving it for all of these years and decades, in fact. Over a century, the home has been in your family. And as a kid growing up, when you talk about your gardens, a lot of us used to walk by your house and remark at the gardens, and it's become one of those, much like Cynthia, the giant rhododendron, sort of one of those hallmark places in the town, not just for the home itself, but for the gardens as well. So, I took a little bit of time, and I did recognize that it's not the season where it flourishes best, but to go by the house and take another look. And I just want to say how much we appreciate folks like you who really love the home, and it shows. And the preserving that heritage. And the other part that, growing up in a family that was antique dealers, and my dad always taught me that the story of the artifact is almost more important than the artifact itself. And that's what really truly gives something meaning. And the more we hear about your home and its history and the story, just gives it all that much more value. So what a wonderful award, well deserved, and congratulations to you, and thank you on behalf of the town for your family's generational preservation and maintenance of the home. It's truly beautiful, and we'll all look forward to the blooms coming out this summer.
Thank you, Mayor Stone. Appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. And thanks, Quentin and everybody.
Well, congratulations, Bill and family. Let's move to a really happy place. And this is to Charlie and the Young Wolves Dance Group for promoting and preserving the rich heritage of the Salinas First Nation and for sharing this heritage within Ladysmith and beyond. And Clinton, please feel free to chime in. I'm going to put up the photographs that you sent. They're fantastic. And if you have any of the young wolves around who want to chime in as well, they'd be more than welcome. That's Clinton right there. And a really wonderful action shot. I believe it's down on the LMS dock. Clinton, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to talk to these photographs?
Yes, I would. Yeah. So 5 years ago, I was teaching adult ed class. So I was teaching evenings, and I was 0.8. And so the current, at that time, principal Sherry White offered me another block of teaching. And one Friday, they start singing and dancing outside. And at the time, they only knew 2 songs. And so that's where it all started. I started bringing my songs to dances here, as I've been part of the Cinco Dance Group in Duncan since I was 4 years old. And in this picture, you see some young men, one from Staminas and one from Stolo, and some parents and alumni and current students. And so this was down in Marine Society, and we get luckily invited back there every year, and which we love because it feels like we're dancing on water. So it's a good time, and we enjoy being down there every summer. Yeah.
So how many different dances do they do?
Oh, God. I think so. We start off 2 songs. We're probably up to 20 to 25 songs by now.
Yeah.
And so every Friday, we jam out for 45 minutes. And I just start and the kids take over. And so, which is a really good thing about this. And every year I brought a new song to our dance group. So it keeps building. And as you see his young man in here, he gave us a song from his nation of Stolo. And we've been gifted songs from Bella Bella and Howzits and other nations. And so we're very grateful for that, as we're a new and young dance group. And so we're building up our song list and dances and songs. So it's growing every year.
And it's not just dance. I mean, I assume the songs, the words are in Hulkaminam, and there's significant cultural meaning. So it's an all-round cultural exercise, I assume.
Yes. And every morning at 9 o'clock, both our primary and high school, we do the Tiwiyaf every morning, which is a big difference when Aaron and I went to school back in the old Shemanis days, where we sang O Canada. And so it's nice to sing this song all in Hulkaminam. And what the students didn't recognize at first was Tiwiyaf Sunset. Tiwiyaf Sunset means I will pray, right? And so they're learning their language, history, and Hulkaminam at the same time, which is great.
This one here.
Yes, this is a shot of our youth. I believe it's for one of the, it's a High Five. I can't remember the name of the show exactly. And so we're getting lots of recognition from around BC and Canada. This young student here in the middle, I believe she now goes to the Ladysmith Primary, and she's in grade 7. And so they recorded her for a week, and she really talked about her songs and dances and her role in the dance group. And it's amazing group of young women that we have here, and they're all born with a special gift. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is the same place down the marina. And you see, it's all the Catlami, Slenny. So it's all the young, it's a woman and teenage girls in this. And this song is to honor the missing and murdered Indigenous woman. It's a woman honor song. And only the woman and young girls are allowed to sing in the song. And this song's for women all across Canada. And it's one of the favorites of our girls because it's their floor. And the young men and boys respect that. And because they know that the giver's life and how important they are to our culture and society. Yeah.
Brilliant.
This was at our Hubier 2 years ago in Vancouver, the PNE. And so it's dance groups from all across BC and Canada. And I believe just house it and us were involved in this Hubier. And so it normally happens the last February of each year. And it's to honor the new year. And so here it's our Silkwan, Layla, John Jim with our dance group here. And it's just, this is so touching to me because lots of these students, not lots, but some of the students, they've never been on the BC ferries before. They never stayed at a hotel. And so that's why this dance group is important to me, because we get the chance and opportunity to travel and go different places. Like I have been with my singer dance group, I've been to Colombia, Mexico, Australia, China. We sang for the Queen and celebrities, so on. And this is what I want to do with my young ones, expose them to the world and let them know that we're still here. And so this was a great time. And unfortunately, due to COVID, it has been canceled the last 2 years. And I think for this one, I think we fundraised close to 15,000 for this event to take all of our students over. I think we took close to 40 youth for this 3-day festivity.
Fantastic. And what an opportunity to meet other people.
Yes. Yeah, so here's our dance group here. And so it ranges anywhere from students in grade 4 to 12. And in this picture is probably about 10 graduates who are no longer in schools, but it's just my teaching. Once you're part of our dance group, you're part of our dance group forever. And they remember that, and they keep coming back. And some students go to public schools, then move, but yet they will still have a spot in our dance group. And as I taught primary this year, I've been teaching the younger ones about this. And last Friday, we combined both schools to sing and dance, and they filled up the floor. And that's what we want, is to bring it back to our community. One of the best advice I got from one of my elders, my uncles, he goes, "You're bringing life back to our community, which has been lost since the residential schools." And so that's the biggest acknowledgement and compliment that I have gotten in this young dance group in our short time. We've only been together for 5 years now, so it's powerful.
Very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Chief Harris, your heart must swell when you see this, and it's appropriate for you to award this to Clinton and Young Wolf Dance Group. I'd like to hand the floor to you.
Ichka. Yeah, it is a great honor for me to be able to award this Cultural Awareness Category Award to Clinton Charlie and the Young Wolves for promoting and preserving the rich heritage of Staminas First Nation, for sharing this heritage within Ladysmith community and beyond. I just want to say, how proud I am of Clinton and his dream, and wanting to, uplift our children and bring back make sure that our culture and language is being kept alive within Staminas First Nation, and also to make sure everyone that wants to be a part of dancing and singing at the school. Every Friday, everyone is involved, and in Instaminas, we always say no one gets left behind, and I really think that Clinton is really embracing that and making sure that our children feel like they belong, and that this group brings pride out in our children, and that they are keeping our language and culture alive. And they're learning by doing. Every time they're doing the dances and singing songs and using the language. I know our elders are beaming with pride, and our whole nation is actually beaming with pride. And it does give our children a chance to see the world, which I am really happy to hear. Clinton has plans for the future for the young wolves, and I can't wait to see what the great things they do. And when we start to think about the big celebrations such as Aboriginal Day that's coming up in June, things like that, the first thing we think of is the young wolves performing and being showcased in front of everyone, and being able to sing loud and proud, and to be able to showcase the Minas culture to our neighbors and everyone who's willing to watch. And that brings pride out in our children. And then we sit in the crowd, and we sit there with our hearts beaming with pride. And I just want to thank you, Clinton, and the Young Wolves for bringing to life, because you are bringing our culture to life. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the Snowyeth that you put into the dance group. And I am just so happy today. I have a real Aitchqualloan in my heart. Aitchqualloan is good feelings. So I just want to thank you and congratulate you, Clinton, and the Young Wolves dance group for your great accomplishment. So proud and honored today. Hi, Tivka.
And I'd just like to add how wonderful it is to see the children dance in front of non First Nation audiences, because it really underlines the vibrancy and energy of First Nation culture today. It's fantastic. We'll move on to the next award. This goes to the Ladysmith Maritime Society with special mention of Take 5 Print and Digital Media for the production of a series of 10 videos which outline the history of the Society's collection of restored wooden vessels, showcasing their importance to British Columbia's maritime heritage. I've got a number of photographs here, and I think, Jeff, will you chime in, or someone else from LMS, with regards to what this award is all about?
Sure, I can tell you a bit about it. I guess the reason why we put these videos together was in anticipation of the Heritage Boat Festival in 2021. We didn't know if it was going to be a live event or whether we'd have to do it online. So we prepared these videos ahead of time. And in the end, we had an event in the summer that was downsized somewhat, but we released these documentary videos before the Heritage Boat event, and in order to get some excitement going about the event. Well, the Saravan is kind of our ambassador vessel, and Rod McNeil is the boat steward for that boat, and he's taken it to many boat shows on the West Coast. He's taken it to False Creek and Stevenson, down to Cowichan Bay, Victoria, and as far south as Port Townsend. So he's a bit of an ambassador for Ladysmith and the Ladysmith Maritime Society. And in the video, he's interviewed, and he tells a great story about the boat. Another is the Kierkegaard that you might recognize. It was just launched last year after a 5-year restoration in our boat shop, and it will become a bit of a charter boat. The Maritimer that you see there is currently our harbor tour vessel. The Maritimer was BC Ferries lifeboat. Rob Pinkerton is the boat steward for the Maritimer. And I should say, in regards to Kierkegaard, John Beams is the boat steward, and he's interviewed along with Robert Lawson, who is a local historian and was also a captain aboard the boat. He was a captain while it was owned by CIL, and he tells the story in the video how they would take 30 men aboard the boat for the trip from Saneston to the facilities, the CIL facilities on James Island. And the other little one down there is the Songbird, which was donated to us in fairly good condition. It was restored and displayed at the Expo 86. And Robert Lawson is the boat steward for that. He tells the story of the vessel and how it was used for fishing. And he has that boat tuned up. It's got an original East Hope engine, and it's a pleasure to see it and hear it run.
And one important thing to understand is these aren't just old boats. These are old BC built boats. And they reflect a long maritime heritage of building boats in and around British Columbia.
Yeah, these are some of our smaller boats. The Sudbury Tug, the Sudbury workboat is a very interesting story behind it, because it was aboard the Sudbury tugboat, which was a famous West Coast tugboat that did some spectacular Pacific Ocean rescues. And Tim Hornet is the boat steward for that boat, and he's interviewed in the documentary, and you can really feel that he's very attached to the boat. The Joan is a small rowboat that was donated to us by Joan Keel, and she is interviewed in this documentary video. It was built by her grandfather, and it was in her family until she donated it to the Ladysmith Maritime Society, and we did a restoration of it. It was just launched about a year ago as well. And the Rainbow Skiff dinghy, that's a display in our Maritime Museum, but it is believed to have come across on the HMC Rainbow from England, and it was owned by several owners before ending up with Robert Lawson, and Robert put together a very nice display about the boat in our Maritime Museum, and he's interviewed in the video as well. And the other small one there is the Leslie, and that was in the Durbin family for many years until they donated it to us for a restoration. And Michael Durbin is interviewed along with Robert Lawson in the documentary video. Yeah, so these are some of the boat stewards and people that were interviewed. Art Randall, thank you, is shown there. We did a video of his boat, and it's not an LMS owned boat, but it's a boat with significant West Coast history. It was a mission boat, and it's a monk design, and Art does a great job of describing the restoration that he did and the history of the boat on the West Coast. So
there's the link. I really recommend you follow that link, go to the LMS website. You can also find the videos there. They're fascinating. They're beautifully made and full of interesting information, not only about the boats themselves, but they give an insight into BC's history of wooden boat building. And here's the plaque. And Aaron, would you like to hand this one over?
Virtually, yes, indeed. I just want to say, obviously, a huge thank you to the LMS group, and especially those who put all of their love and attention into not only the boats themselves and the restoration, but the historical accuracy of those restorations. It really gives you that opportunity to feel like you take a step back in time, especially as you're told the story of the boat, and sort of get the opportunity to see it restored to the former glory that they had. And really, last year when LMS was awarded for their work, you could say that was the tip of the proverbial iceberg. And with the work of Take 5, who's always working so hard to tell the stories of Ladysmith, both past, present, and future, and with all the work they've done around video production to help make this project real, we're just starting to see what is under the water, if you will, with that iceberg. And just want to say to LMS for the upcoming investments that they're making in the display of the heritage boats down at the marina as well. A big thank you to them for their great work around the planning and the grant applications to help make those projects a reality. So year after year, I'm not sure we won't see them back here again next year for their efforts to sort of tell those stories. And it goes back to my earlier comments that the beauty of the vessels, the engineering, the all of that is really interesting, but it's the story behind those artifacts that really give the depth and the meaning, their place in the history of British Columbia, and how they, in their own small way, depending on the size of the boat and the role that it played, are another voice back to the past of the history of British Columbia and Ladysmith as well. So on the behalf of the town, I just want to say thank you to the whole LMS crew. And I'll just say that the favorite part for me, though, is when they're being worked on and getting the opportunity, and with such grace. I know there's people working and they don't always like us non-mariners poking around in there, but every time we're invited in to take a look at what's happening, the passion is really evident. And I think we're just so thankful for that passion, because any one of you that are on this call and those watching that have worked on those boats know you need a lot of passion to get through some of the frustration when you're working on those difficult restorations. But we're just so thankful for that stick-to-itiveness and that passion, and more so for bringing those stories back to life. So thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Stone. It's a pleasure for us to receive the award, and it's nice to be recognized by the town and LDHS. And the boat shop is always open if you want to come and visit. It's not all work. We sit around and have some coffee sometime too.
We'll move on to the fourth and last award, which goes to the Ladysmith and District Credit Union. In 2021, the Ladysmith and District Credit Union commissioned local artist Kathy Oliver Stroman to paint a mural depicting 77 years of the credit union in the community, celebrating aspects and activities within the community with which the credit union has been and remains involved. With its integrated explanatory plaques, the mural is an attractive introduction to local history and community. And this award basically is for the Wall of History mural at Robert Street and First Avenue, which illustrates the long time and continuing connection between the credit union and the community, a really deep connection. This is it's a collage of the mural, sticking it all together. Whose idea was it? How did the mural get designed? You did the painting. Just interested in the mechanics behind it, and of course the outcome is fantastic.
I think John is with us, aren't you here, John? I can't see the picture.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll start, Kathy, and then you can pick up the actual implementation of our idea. We had painted a mural on our wall for the Tour de Rock many years ago, and it had been a 2-year commitment that we'd made, and we ended up leaving it up for 10 years. But it was definitely in need of some touching up. And in a discussion with our board of directors, we thought it would be a great idea to showcase our history with Ladysmith in a mural on our wall. And so I approached Kathy to see if she would be interested in such a large project, and she attacked it with great enthusiasm, which was wonderful. And we sat down and had a meeting, and I said that we were interested in our history, and I gave her a history book that we had written about the credit union a few years ago. And she came back with some drawings, and over the course of a few meetings, we planned out the whole thing, albeit, changes I kept making on the fly, and Kathy was very gracious in adding things here and there. And I wanted to point out a couple of highlights, and then I'll let Kathy take over. You can see on the left of the painting 3 portraits.
I'm just going to move the slide on so you can see them better.
Perfect. Oh, thanks, Quentin. So those are 3 of our founding members. Reverend Everett Fleming was our first president of our board. And something that we are really proud of, and we can't officially claim it because there aren't records for every credit union, but as far as we are aware, Helmi Katila, the second portrait, was the first ever female president of a credit union board in BC in 1947. And we're incredibly proud of that. And it was very progressive at the time to have women not only involved in the credit union, but on the board of directors. And I hate to say that for our population of today may not understand, but at the time you couldn't even open an account unless your husband attended with you, believe it or not. So, and it's not just the credit union, that was banks all around. And the third portrait is John Ulander, who worked at the Comox Logging Company, and he actually attended every annual general meeting of the credit union for 50 years. And it's just amazing commitment to the credit union, and he saw it from its infancy to 1994, I believe. And right beside those portraits, you can see our 3 original buildings. So for the first number of years, the credit union existed in people's living rooms, and that's where the work was done. And then we had our first building, and is now Zach's Lounge on First Avenue. And then where the creperie is, besides the 7-Eleven, was our second building. They discovered that the vault was still in the building, and they actually called me and asked if I might happen to know the combination, which was hilarious. But showcasing 77 years, we're so proud of it. Kathy, jump in and tell us your thoughts on how this all came about and how you felt about painting our history.
Oh, thank you, John. Thank you for inviting me to this ceremony. I'm very honored and very grateful. I like painting big, so this was exciting for me. And truly, I've been in Ladysmith maybe 11 years, 12 years, something like that. So I've seen a lot of events and fun things before COVID that I did realize that the credit union, the Ladysmith District Credit Union, had been involved in. But I didn't get the scope of it until he gave me the history book. And then I started reading, and I was like, holy smoke, how do I get all this in? So, it was just working with John's initial idea and then trying to fit it all in a proper way. My background is designer, graphic designer. I worked on expos as a trade show designer, so I was used to building, or the idea of building large scale things. So I don't know, I just have the eye to try and do that and yet keep it fun and colorful. And I think with John, I think we really wanted to try and be as colorful as we could. I can see some things I need to fix now. But the artist is always never happy with their work. Truly, it was a great collaboration, and doing my best, which is where I like to go, and working with John's ideas and really showing off what's happened here over these years, especially with COVID. A lot of the new people don't know that we had such a fun place to go, right? And realizing and respecting the efforts by the Ladysmith District Credit Union to, make our town what it is, help provide an avenue for all of us to have all this enjoyment. So I'm the lucky one to have been able to put it out there. So I'm so very grateful. So thanks for letting me be part of this. Appreciate it.
And here's the plaque, and I'd like to ask Chief Roxanne Harris to award this plaque to the LDCU.
Yes, thank you so much. It gives me a great honor to award this Ladysmith Heritage Awards 2022 project category awarded to Ladysmith and District Credit Union with special mention of the artist Kathleen Oliver Stroman for the Wall of History mural at Robert Street and First Avenue, which illustrates the long time and continuing connection between the credit union and our community. I just want to thank you both. I mean, I know it's has to be a great vision that the credit union and John DeLue came up with to make sure to try and incorporate the essence of who we are and where we come from in historical perspective as well. And so and then you bringing that to life, Kathy, that it's just so wonderful to see that, that Ladysmith is a wonderful place to live and to and that the credit union has a long history. I seen on there since 1944. So it's something that we can show our children, and go up to each thing, each part of it, and then we can talk about the Tour de Rock, laugh, the grads, the show and shine, the fireworks and what that means, and the tree at light up and the significance of that. And then for me, I look at the canoe that was carved by Manny Sampson. So for my connection, that is connection to Staminas First Nation. So, I just really feel proud to see all of those things that connect us all in community, and appreciate all your hard work and dedication to making sure that you bring right from the beginning and recognizing women being on the board and all of that, and connecting all of us in a beautiful way through your art. So I just appreciate John and Kathy for bringing that to life. And thank you so much for your hard work and dedication once again. Aichka.
Thank you, Chief Harris. I want to point out, as Mayor Stone said earlier, these have been a tough couple of years, and we forget how much as a community we have in Light Up and Ladysmith Days and canoe races and all the things that have brought us together as a community. And the credit union is it's part of our fabric to be involved in the community. And I tell this story all the time, and I'm sorry for all of those who probably heard it from me already, but when we were researching our history book, we found the first indication of the credit union's involvement in the community was in February of 1947, where the credit union sponsored an evening of entertainment and cards. And it's an interesting juxtaposition to the world we live in today, because the ad in the Chronicle said, an evening of games, entertainment, tea, coffee, and bring your own sugar, because I guess rationing was still going on. And I love telling that story that people don't quite get, bring your own sugar. But to me, it showcases the credit union. We've been involved in the community from the very beginning. Proud to do it, proud to continue to do it. And I'm hoping that we can have some great celebratory events this year that we've been missing for the last couple.
Thank you. And what a great way for a visitor to learn about our community as well. A really colorful exhibit and something easy for them to take in. We have two special guests, Lisa Marie Barron and Doug Routley. I'm going to stop screen sharing and I'm going to turn the floor over to Lisa Marie first and then Doug.
Thank you so much, Quentin. I apologize. I realized I jumped up with my camera on there, but our house just shook and so me and my children were running around trying to figure out what was happening. So I apologize. I'm here and I'm so grateful to be here this evening. I first want to, of course, acknowledge that the riding of Nanaimo Ladysmith, in which I represent, is composed of the territories of the Snuneymuxw, Snuneymuxw, Staminas, and Liaxin First Nations. And I'm so grateful to live, work, and raise my two children on these territories. I'm currently on the traditional territories of the Snuneymuxw First Nations, and I'm so happy to be breathing in the clean, fresh ocean air after just spending a month in Ottawa. So I'm very happy to be home. I want to thank the Ladysmith and District Historical Society, not only for these awards that you've put together this evening, but also for your stewardship in restoring and preserving the history of Ladysmith. And I want to say a big congratulations to each and every one of the nominees and award recipients. It is so very well deserved. As I was sitting and listening to each one of the awards being given out this evening and learning so much about Ladysmith and all the great work happening in this town, I was thinking about my grandfather. I will tell you, my grandfather, James Barron, passed away a few years ago, but he documented everything. He had journaled every momentous occasion. He took pictures always when we expected at least, and documented those and kept mementos from over the years. But the great part was that now my children have this rich history of mementos of so much that has happened over the years for them to share with their children and for generations to come. And, you know, my grandfather just really instilled in me the importance of appreciating and celebrating all the positive contributions of those that came before us, but also to learn from the mistakes that have been made so that we can ensure that we're doing all we can to mend harms and to ensure that these mistakes are not repeated. And he had just such a deep love of history that he instilled in me and the importance of protecting this for generations to come. So I'm so happy to be here tonight. I am a settler to Vancouver Island, and as such, I am always learning from the local First Nations here on Vancouver Island, the Coast Salish First Nations. And as First people of these lands, there's always so much for me to learn around the connection to the land, connection to one another, connection to language, culture, and tradition. And it was very heartwarming to see celebrating and to see Clinton, Charlie, and the Young Wolves dance group being here and being awarded this evening. I've had the honor of not only watching the Young Wolves dance group. I think the house shaking shook me up a little bit there, but to feel the powerful story lessons and deep connections that comes from being present during these songs and dances. I loved hearing Clinton reference the Women Honor song, because that song in particular, it brought tears to my eyes and most definitely put a fire in my soul while listening to it. I was thinking about as well, specifically to that group, and Chief Harris brought this up tonight, but I had the honor of having an elder teach me the word Esqualoan. And now I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And I love the meaning that Chief Harris brought for this evening. I'm always learning, but and the way that it was taught to me was that connection between the mind and the heart. And I really came to understand the meaning of that word while being able to be present as the Young Wolves dance group danced and sang their songs, and to really understand the meaning of that word. And I can't think of another word that we have in the English language that has that same meaning. It's a really powerful word to me. I wanted to say thank you to Bill Verschere and his beautiful home and generations of work. Clearly, I love being in my garden and getting my fingernails dirty, and I can assure you I will be taking a closer look at this house and garden now that I've learned more about it. So I'm just so grateful to see that work, and clearly it's a cherished part of Ladysmith. I don't want to go on for too long, but I was very excited to see the work done by the Ladysmith Maritime Society for the videos and capturing the beautifully restored wooden vessels. And as I saw Ruth comment below the Ladysmith's floating heritage, I just think that's such a great way of describing it. And I'm going to be keeping my eyes out as well for these BC boats, and I'm going to be sure to share these videos. And thank you to the Ladysmith and District Credit Union for all that you do in preserving history. But not only that, but also building community. I know many of us have mentioned the challenges over the last couple of years in the pandemic, and it's organizations like the Ladysmith and District Credit Union that helps to offer opportunities for community to come together. And it's clear that there was a lot of resilience and creativity used over the last couple of years to keep that work going. So I'm just very grateful to see that. And that mural is beautiful. There's no doubt. And so, you know, I don't think anybody here would argue that there's something very, very special about Ladysmith. It's full of rich character and history. And in some locations, it feels like you're stepping back in time and are able to experience days from long ago. It's because of the work and contributions of those being awarded today and so many more that have made the town of Ladysmith the amazing place that it is to live today. And I want to express gratitude for being the Member of Parliament representing the town of Ladysmith. And I sure do hope that we have an opportunity to meet in person soon. I'm just so honored to learn from you all. And the town of Ladysmith has so many stories and strengths. I look forward to sharing these stories in Ottawa. These are the things that we need to be talking about, is the strength and resiliency of the amazing community that we live in and that I'm so proud of. And I'm so, so grateful to be here, and congratulations to each and every one of the awards this evening. Thank you, merci and haisepka. Thank you.
Thank you. Doug.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for this evening. I very much appreciate being invited. I represent the constituency of Nanaimo North Cowichan, which is on the Cowichan, Lake Cowichan, Halalt, Penelakut, Sunamuk, Liaxon, and Sunimas territory. And I'm very, very pleased to be here. And in the times that we're in, given COVID, I have to say that my appreciation of Ladysmith, growing up in the Cowichan Valley and coming through, two historical things stand out in my mind. As somebody who's fully fascinated by railways, and a grandfather who was a railroader, the cars and cars of logs that were there before. And then appreciating the history of the influenza pandemic, the Spanish flu, and what happened. Pictures, historical pictures that have always fascinated me and made me think about that time over the years, and more now than ever. But realizing now in this context that this was at least the 7th or 8th pandemic brought to First Peoples of this region. And, you know, it's important that we all learn about these things. And I think that the value of what we're doing tonight is so important, given all of that. And that history I saw play out with Melanie Mark being sworn in as the first Indigenous woman to be sworn into the BC legislature, the seat of colonial government, and where so much of the negativity of the past came from, and the reconciliation that represented the Singqua dancers, the drums pounding in the legislature, the voices. It was so powerful, and we are living a time of incredible history. So I just feel like it is so important that we honor our history. It is so important that we use the artists and the storytellers in our communities, the families, to tell the story. And I just think of the young people who will look at the history of this time and understand that we were in a watershed moment while all these crises came to us. This watershed moment of reconciliation. And with that, I would like to also pay tribute to former Mayor Rob Hutchins for the effort that he put into the relationship with Sinimas First Nation. And my deepest thanks to Roxanne for being at this meeting, and how it is so important that any understanding of our history be a real reckoning with the facts of what happened and moving on together in partnership. And it is so inspiring to see that happen in this context. So now, in this current challenge that we face, I know that people didn't necessarily put away too much back then. I think of those pictures of the flue houses in Ladysmith of that time, and the Historical Society does such work to collect those things. But better and better we are becoming in cherishing our history and embracing it. And I have a great confidence that the good spirit of this time will be reflected in the way people appreciate this time as history in the future. For people like all of you on this call, particularly you, Roxanne, for being here, and all of that we face together is so challenging, but it also unites us, and I'm just so honored to be asked to participate in any way. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Doug. I'm just going to close by saying that these awards are a small but heartfelt expression of recognition and thanks to those members of our community who give of themselves to preserve and share our heritage, thus shaping our community for today and tomorrow. Congratulations to the recipients. A special thank you to our honored guests, Melanie Mark, Lisa Marie Barron, and Doug Routley, for taking time out of your busy schedules, and to Chief Roxanne Harris and Mayor Aaron Stone for officiating. Lastly, before we sign off, thank you, the silent audience, for joining us. Hopefully next year, we can get together to celebrate an in-person presentation in the newly renovated museum, thanks to the SEREP grant that you, Doug, announced last year for museum repairs and renovations. That work is ongoing at the moment. I bid you all good night. Aye, Snee. Thank you.